And indeed, the game you guys are playing is my game. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Oh, it feels so good to say that. You are listening live here to Brandon's World on BlackSquirrelRadio.com. And man, guys, it is August 23rd. 2019. It's about 70 degrees outside, and we are back in studio here. And oh man, guys, it's been a long time. It's been since May 4th of 2019, so that was a little bit over 100 days ago since I was last here. And if you guys remember, that was the Black Squirrel Radio Marathon. I was here for 11 hours, so I feel refreshed today. It was a little bit too long of a break in my opinion, so I'm glad we're back here today. I'm glad that our general manager of Black Squirrel Radio, our new general manager, Connor Battles, gave me the opportunity to be able to come in here today and do a special show with you guys. Reminder, this show is not a part of our fall 2019 Black Squirrel Radio programming. We are holding auditions here in the studio the week of Labor Day. That is September 2nd through the 7th. And then we will begin our regular fall scheduled programming after that. Next week, August 30th, I will be having a show. Same time here, 10 a.m. to noon. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm going to be bringing in my good buddy, Michael Reiner. We're going to be talking about the state of the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and then, of course, wrestling, because a lot of stuff happened over the summer. And then also, I'm going to bring in Sean Fitzgerald, formerly of Fitz and Spinell. I don't know what his new show is going to be called. I know he's working on something. But we are going to be bringing in Sean Fitzgerald next Friday from 11 to noon. And just talk, again, it's going to be two conversations. One with Michael, one with Sean. And it's going to be just the state about everything about sports. Now, I am going to be getting to sports a little bit later in about 15 minutes or so. But one of the reasons why I wanted to come in today and do this show specifically is because, I don't have a lot of time to do stuff like this, where we just come in, we talk about real life situations, we talk about my personal stuff, we talk about what happened over the summer, because I really feel it's important to have a connection with all of you, and I know most people here feel that, some people don't. It just depends on if you're an emotional person or not. Me personally, I can be very emotional, and then I cannot be emotional at all. When it comes to, movies, I can get emotional sometimes. The only movie I have actually cried at was Toy Story 4. The ending of Toy Story 4, man. That, if you're going to send a franchise out, that's the way you send a franchise out. I'm not going to spoil anything. In case you haven't seen the movie yet, it was, in my opinion, one of the best movies Pixar has ever made. Is it better than 3? Probably. I know a lot of people didn't like 3, even though I liked it. I didn't like Toy Story 2, personally. I thought 4 was better than 2, even though I do think some weird things about 4, as you'll notice. The side characters, like Jesse, Mr. Potato Head Rex, they don't have a big part in it, which I thought was a little strange. But anyways, I thought it was a very well done stuff. But back to emotional. A lot of stuff happened last spring with me. A lot of stuff, happened this summer. It felt like every which way I turned, there was always an obstacle either thrown at, someone in my family was ill, or something else would come up, or something happened here. And it was just, it's been a very emotional past, I don't know, January to August, so 7 months. It's just been a battle. And I felt like last semester, I didn't have the opportunity to do my best job as a radio host. I felt like I would come in here, be all mad, be all ranted up, and I didn't feel like I did my best job personally. I think I just had a lot of stuff on my plate, wrote for the Stater, did stuff for Black Squirrel Radio, and then all my classes, had a lot going into. I took a lot of hard, stressful classes that I had to study a lot for, so I just think, emotionally, I think I was worn down, and this show was almost my getaway, my escape. And I do not want it to be a getaway or escape. I want it to be something that, like, just give me a microphone and let me talk. And I feel so blessed to have this opportunity, to have this platform to share with you guys. So I don't want it to be a getaway or escape. I kind of want it to be a normal thing. You know, me being me instead of just a distraction for a couple hours. Something that I'm very much looking forward to. Not as a distraction, but something that I really want to do. You know, and last September, if you guys remember, it was a Wednesday, 10 a.m., September 26th. We came in here. I pretty much knew nothing. When the lights turned off in the studio, I thought we lost power. Didn't realize the lights were on motion sensors. You know, and it's just growing and learning and talking to people and being around a good environment is so important. So that's what I want to stress to you guys today is just, you know, if you're under a lot of stress, you know, if you were like me and you're killing yourself to get stuff done and you just feel worn down, man, it's okay. You will get through it. You know, my family's very strong. My friend group is very strong. You know, I only have about 5 or 6 close friends. If you guys believe in horoscopes, which I do, if you read mine, which is September 29th, it will tell you literally exactly who I am, to a T. In there it specifically says, you know, you like only a few friends to be around, but those friends who you are with are very, very close. And that's how I feel. You know I'm not the best person to get along with. You know, I know I'm very strong-headed. I'm very opinionated. You know, and I say stuff sometimes that my mom says before my brain thinks. You know, and I know that. So dealing with me is hard. If you know me, if you text me, you know that at night when I'm very tired, my texts get like a yes or no answer. Where an hour ago I was texting paragraphs. You know, that's just the way I am. I believe in certain stuff, and then I don't believe in certain stuff. And you know, I think it's just very important to have relationships with people. And you know, being here at BSR, being over the summer, you know, I have 2 friends named Sophie and Molly who, you know, we got together for the first time this year, all 3 of us in a room for 5 years. You know, and it lasted for about 4 hours. We were at Youth Challenge, which is an organization that helps kids with physical disabilities interact for sports and recreation with team volunteers. It was their Summer's End Bash. And, you know, we kind of got together, hung out, and it was just great, man. Like, I did not want the night to end. You know, like I said, I haven't seen those girls in nearly half a decade. And, you know, just to have that relationship with them, and nothing really changed. You know, it wasn't awkward or nothing. We just had a really great conversation. And it brought back the days, man. You know, it took me back to life. Like, you know, what do I really want in life? And it's this. It's that close-knit friend group. You know, my good friend Michael Reiner, who I can't wait to bring in here next week, as I've already mentioned, he writes a column called One Step at a Time, and it's all about disabilities. Go read Michael's stuff on Count Wire, man. Michael is a great, great person. He cares about everybody, and it's just, you know, it's those relationships. You know, it's those people that always bring you into a positive light. You know, just like this past summer, I also played adapted football for the Achievement Center. You know, it's stuff like that. You know, you make memories with these people. You know, the coach I have, you know, they all love me. They know I'm a fiery guy, but they also know that I'm passionate and I want to win. You know, so I think it just, you know, living at college and living at home are 2 different lives. You know, I'm a lot quieter at home. I feel like, even though my mom and dad will say I'm definitely not, I feel like I definitely am a lot more quieter. I'm a lot less flamboyant, especially when it comes to sports. You know, I think when you get around a bunch of guys, you tend to scream more than you do with your family. But I just think it's just this summer, what I'm trying to say, I guess I'm having a hard time trying to wrap this segment up because I'm trying to put the perfect verse on this. it was a learning experience. It really was just a fascinating learning experience, and I am glad to be back, and I'm thankful for everybody that's in my life. I had a friend a couple years ago after high school who never talked to me again, deleted his email, deleted all social media, changed his phone number, moved out of the state, I guess. I don't know what happened to him. That hurt me. It took a little bit of time to get over. Like I said, I'm a very emotional person. When it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to sports, I am not emotional at all. When a player gets traded, good. Trade him. When he gets cut, oh well. You have to move on. It's a business. But, friends and family, they're not business. They are what they are. They're friends and family. I think that the people I am around, people I got to see this summer, just kind of mending the fence, taking a break, relaxing, gave me an opportunity to step back and say, this is what I want in my life, right? When I'm away from the studio, this is what I want. When I need to take a break, I know now I need to take a break. I used to think, I'll work 360 days a year, which, doing this show 360 days a year would be a blessing, and I would probably love it. But I think I am learning, it's hard for me. I've never really taken a step back, looked myself in the mirror. I struggle with a lot of stuff. I've struggled with what I call sports depression. Believe it or not, it is real. When teams lose, I'm not talking about guys getting traded or cut. When teams lose, finals, championships, it's emotional. I mean, you want your team, I'm talking about the Cavs basically here, watch your team go to 4 straight finals and 3 of them get blown off the floor by Golden State. No matter if you're not the winner or loser, getting there, going for the season, all that, it's very emotional. Especially if you're like me, and, for LeBron's last season, I watched all 82 games. And I think he played 100 games that season. Because I believe he played, that would be 18 playoff games. I watched all of them. All of them. So it's very emotional, kind of because I knew it probably would be LeBron's last year. But, just doing that and taking the toll and watching the team, it's a lot, man. It's a lot to be a fan. It's a lot to be an analysis, but it's very fun to come in here and talk about stuff. In a few minutes here, I'm going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the Browns, because your new favorite head coach, Freddie Kitchens, I have a problem with already. Baker Mayfield, I love. I think he's going to be the Browns' savior, but he might have to save the Browns from a disaster in the locker room. I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about the Tribe, because everybody's flipping out about Brad Hand, and I'm going to tell you why you guys need to calm down about Brad Hand. He will be fine. The Indians will be fine. I know they're a half game out of the wild card at this point. They will be fine. So my other, segue into this commercial break is what I also learned this semester and this past summer. Patience, patience, patience. Also, really quick, I want to throw in some TV shows that I watch, because I want to kind of give you guys, my personality a little bit. I watched the end of the season of Last Man Standing. Great show on Fox. I love all the characters. I think, whatever political side you're on, I think everybody can love that show. They make jokes about everything, and it's funny, and it all works. I watched HGTV last night. Flipper Flop, which Tark, I'm sorry, that was a bad buy, man. I like that guy, Jesse, man. That Jesse, he likes to toy with Tark. It's actually really funny. But, so if you guys know what I'm talking about, HGTV, other stuff, I'm not just a sports guy, is what I'm trying to say. I am way more than that. If you get to know me, you'll know that. And like I said, I thank you all who have stayed in touch with me for all this time, because I know that I'm a very emotional person, and I know that I'm very hard to deal with. But if you know me and you get along with me, man, kudos to you. Because I don't get along with many people. I get along with a very select few. And once I do, I have a tendency to not let them go, and they don't tend to let me go. because we just have a special bond. Alright? So, whether you guys attack me on social media telling me I'm going to be in Wyoming for 60 years because I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't care, man. I got better things to do than learn with you trolls. We're back here, and I want to talk about your new favorite team, Cleveland. Your new favorite team. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Oh, I know. For the way preseason game tonight, we're all going to pet the beauty lot. They're probably already down there drinking beer, ready to watch the preseason game at the bars tonight. Guys, calm down, man. Like, I get it. Your team went 7-9 last year, with Greg Williams winning 5 out of the 7 games. I get it. Now you bring in the guy who is, in my opinion, a pretty good play caller in Freddie Kitchens. He's not bad, but I have a problem with Freddie Kitchens. I'm sorry, I just do. Alright, listen, Freddie Kitchens, are we sure this guy's qualified? Are we sure? Because Freddie, to me, sounds like an angry grandpa. Okay? He's talking about, and I'm paraphrasing here, we better come ready to beat a team's you-know-what because they're coming to beat our you-know-what. Yeah, everybody knows that, Freddie. Okay? And the media adores Freddie Kitchens. You know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm a media member. I was a reporter last semester. You know why people love Freddie Kitchens? He gives great quotes. You don't have to ask hard questions. Freddie Kitchens is like the easiest guy to talk to. You know who the hardest guy to talk to in sports is? Bill Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati. Yeah, well, Bill, what about we're on to Cincinnati? Like, that is the way you handle the media. The New England way. I'm sorry. Look, I know Freddie has his own style. I know John Dorsey has his own style. But is it going to work? What I'm very curious about the Browns this season is this. And I don't know if Baker Mayfield is playing or not. If somebody knows that the starters are going to play a half or whatever, please tell me. Please text me. Please DM me. Please get a hold of me and tell me that. I have the expectation they're not playing. So, I mean, they may play a series or two. But when I mean playing, I mean more than a quarter. That's what I count as playing. You play one drive. Like, the 2-minute drill against Washington. Yeah, it was a 2-minute drill. Yeah, it was pretty impressive. But what's going to happen when they face Tennessee week 1? I feel like the Browns all offseason have been yapping. And we're going to see. And I've told everybody this over the summer. I said, if you're a Browns fan, you want this game to be extremely close week 1, right? You want it to be extremely close. You want to see what your team has. If you're like the Rams, remember the Rams and the Saints last year? Remember how they started out? Remember how they blew everybody out like weeks 1 through 8? Yeah, they made it to the championship games, but if you remember, their offenses were sputtering. Weeks 9 through 17, they were sputtering. So they got off to such a start, and then once everybody figured them out, that's what happens in Kansas City every year. Teams that win in September usually don't win in January, February. Teams that start off 4-0, 5-0, 6-0 usually don't win at all. They just don't. Teams that start off 2-2 or 3-1, 4-2, somewhere around there, usually do better than the teams that start off 8-0. I'm being completely honest. You can look at the stats. Bottom line. So you look at this week 1 game, right? The Browns been talking about how they're so good and they know they have a lot of work to prove. Well, Tennessee's going in there and they want to go, hey, why don't you just shut them up, right? If I'm Tennessee, you just get Odell Beckham frustrated and see what happens. That would be my game plan, right? Double team Odell. Don't let him get the ball. Let Jarvis Landry, David Njoku, all the other guys get the ball. And then see what happens, right? Because my 2 big concerns about the Browns is this. Number 1 is that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to get mad when he doesn't have enough balls. When the ball is not thrown his way, or when he's open and the ball is not thrown to him, he's going to go down the sideline and basically kick a kicking net and throw a fit like a baby. Let's see if Freddie Kitchens, because I thought for the most part Tom Coughlin did a good job of keeping him under control, and then as soon as they fired him, brought in Ben McAdoo, that's when this whole circus really started, in my opinion. I know the stuff he had with Josh Norman, but I really thought they kept him under control until Ben McAdoo came in New York. Let's see if Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens can keep this guy under control. That's not a knock on either of them. It's more of a knock on Kitchens, because I don't know if he can do it. I know Baker could, because I know Baker has leadership qualities. I like Baker Mayfield. Now, I don't like him with that mustache, but I do like Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield, he's a really good quarterback. I am worried about his ability to see over the line, especially if the Browns' offensive line, which nobody's talking about, everybody thinks Greg Robinson and Chris Hubbard are going to hold down the fort. I don't think so at all. I think the two weakest positions on the Browns are left tackle and right tackle, which are arguably, besides center, the two most important positions on the Browns' offensive line. They did get rid of Kevin Zeitler, which I was okay with. I always thought Zeitler was overrated. And Peppers for Odell. It was a really good trade for the Browns. I wrote about it, why it was a good trade. But I'm saying the fit. You know, you bring in Sheldon Richardson, you bring in Ogunjobi, now along that D-line with Garrett and Vernon, and you have all of this talent. Defensive line. Then you got linebackers. Joe Schobert, Christian Kirksey, Mac Wilson, Taki, Gerald Avery. There's your 5 linebackers. Your corners, your deep back. You got all this talent. They're going to cut some pretty good football players, right? But the one concern, and there's actually two, on the field, and there's one kind of off the field. So, on the field, the concern, the weak points are the offensive line, and for me, it's backup quarterback. Garrett Gilbert is not a suitable backup quarterback. Maybe for preseason. He's a good preseason body. He might make the team, but he's not a backup quarterback. Drew Stanton, to me, is a veteran to be there. He's not ready to play. I don't think Drew Stanton's played in about 3 or 4 years. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't think Drew Stanton's ready to play. By the way, I love what my Birds did by bringing in Josh McCown. Josh McCown looked ready to go last night, 17-24, 196, 2 touchdowns, no picks, for a great ball to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in the back of the end zone. I apologize. So, I thought Josh McCown is more ready to play than Drew Stanton. I don't think Drew Stanton is able to play. I think he's a statue. I just... Was he even that good when he was in Arizona? I don't think so. You look at guys like Garrett Gilbert. So, I think the Browns' backup quarterback situation is a question. I think the offensive line is a question. Off the field, Freddie Kitchens, man. This guy, like it or not, you have to be politically correct with the media. Now, there's some people, especially in politics, with our president who can get away with it because he basically gets away with everything. And then, but in football, that's different than politics. Football is, you gotta say the politically correct things, because then the media is all over you. This isn't a fiasco like the White House. This is football. I think the teams that are politically correct and don't say anything usually succeed more than teams with attitude. And I get it, man. Attitude can be different. You can have a chip on your shoulder and have an attitude. I completely understand that. You can be motivated because you're a 1 seed going to the playoffs and you're treated like an underdog, like my Eagles were. That's motivation. But I'm talking about yapping about how great you are and how much talent you have. And the Browns, we're going to find out really early how good they really are, how special they are as a team. Because I've told you guys before, I think the Jets game, week 2 is a tough game. The Rams, no matter what, week 3 will be a tough game. Even though I think the Rams take a step back next year. I really believe that. You got a week 4 game, which is at Baltimore. Baltimore last night against my Birds. Trace McSorley actually looked okay. I know they're going to start Lamar, but I feel like if they run that offense they ran last night where they let McSorley air it out a little bit, they're going to be more successful. We'll see if Lamar Jackson can do that. I would say their defense blitzed a lot, and they pretty much killed Cody Kessler. That guy's got no shot at making the Birds. Remember Cody Kessler, everybody? But, I think the Ravens' defense is legit, so that might be a tougher game than what I'm thinking, because I don't think Baltimore is that good this year if Lamar can't throw the ball. Then you got at San Francisco, which will be a tough one. Then you have home against Seattle, and then bye week, and then at New England, at Denver. I mean, these are tough games, right? Denver's probably not going to be that good this year, but in that environment, they're going to probably be pretty good. And with Von Miller, Bradley Chubb coming off the edge against those two tackles, look out Baker Mayfield. It was 17-16 last year, and their quarterback this year is Joe Flacco, who is just a teeny bit better than one Case Keenum. I get the Browns have a lot more weapons, but also Baker Mayfield struggled in that game. I want to read you right now Baker Mayfield's stats in that Denver game. He went 18 of 31, which is 58% completion percentage, 188, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Now, I shared this stat on Twitter before. I shared it on Wednesday. I shared all, and you can go look it up. I shared all of the stats Baker Mayfield had pre-A-League and with Freddie Kitchens. And then I also shared the points per game. They went up by 3 points a game with Kitchens. And Baker Mayfield's completion percentage went up by 10%. He threw for 1,000 more yards. He threw for 11 more touchdowns and 2 more interceptions. So Baker's total stat line was 27 and 14. For a rookie, that's pretty good. 14 interceptions, kind of high. I think he's going to tone that down a little bit this year. From what I noticed from doing those stats, Freddie Kitchens' offense is very quarterback friendly. I will say that. It is. It's very quarterback friendly. He gets the ball out. There was a game in here. Let me see. This game. It was the Falcons game. He went 17-20, 216, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That stat line don't look that good, but I don't care about stat lines as a coach, right? Get rid of the ball quick. You guys know the way I play. West Coast offense, touchdown, check down, get the ball out, run the out routes. You know, I always like to call passes on first down a lot. You know, get ahead of the chains. Then on second down, I have the option to do whatever I want. You know, it's hard to be in those third and longs. You know, I can't stand penalties as a coach, so I'm hoping that Freddie Kitchens cracks down on those. But Baker looked really, really good last season, and let's hope it continues this season. The other thing I want to mention just really quick about Freddie is I think he's trying to be everything anti-Hugh Jackson, and who knows, maybe some of the stuff Hugh did actually worked. Some of the stuff Chip Kelly did in Philadelphia, even though that team was a mess, some of the stuff he actually did, Doug Peterson has actually kept, including some of the plays that Chip Kelly called, the exact same terminology, everything. So I think Freddie trying to be the anti-Hugh is a good and bad thing, but I do think that eventually Freddie's going to have to learn. He's going to have to adjust. I think next year will be the big year for him in order for him to understand that, hey, I don't have to be the anti-guy here. Alrighty, so let's dive in now to the Tribe, right? So I've kind of talked about the Browns a lot here. I think it's going to be very interesting, you know, this season to see what happens, and then, you know, this preseason game tonight, see what guys kind of stand out. I'll be watching back and forth in between that and the Tribe game. But the Tribe, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys remember, I wrote an article back in May, and this is what I said. Give me a second here. Yep, this is what I said about the Indians. In May, they were, through Labor Day, they were 26-26. This is what I said, and I quote. Now, the numbers do not look too different from what the Tribe did in the first 2 months in 2016 and 2017, meaning record-wise. But the numbers do not tell the story. The play on the field in May of 2019 for the Indians has been downright ugly. There's no other word to describe it. Every time the offense scores a run, which has been hard to do in the first place, the pitching gives up a run right back. The offense is not coming up with a key hit when they need to, and they are not taking advantage of walks. The defense is committing errors instead of turning easy double plays and throwing out runners trying to steal. Not only has the on-the-field product not been up to par, but the Indians are fighting another battle this season that they have not had to fight with in a couple of years, their division. Currently, the Minnesota Twins look unbeatable, winning 5 in a row and punishing their opponents with a long ball, hitting 482 home runs, which is good enough for second in the entire league, while the Tribe have hit a league low 362 dingers. The Twins at the time of this writing have a 10-game lead on the Indians in the Central, and while the Tribe are only a game back of the second wildcard spot, the Indians do not feel like a playoff team. That was my take about 3 months ago. Since that take, the Indians have been one of the best teams in baseball. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know everybody's flipping out, obviously, over these last 3 games of the Mets. The first game, Bieber pitched well. Bullpen gave it up late. Just made stupid mistakes, man. Second game, Brent and you have to cover first base. Error. Dumb mistakes. Great thing about baseball is you get to do it again the next day, and the Indians last night just couldn't hit Syndergaard. So the Mets, they're on a roll. They've got themselves fighting back in contention for the wild card, and the Indians just ran into a buzzsaw, man. Now, when the Indians started this stretch beginning on July 30th until today, they faced every team with at least a 500 record at the time they faced them, or teams that maybe are competing for somewhat of a wild card spot. I thought the Indians could have gone 14-9 in that 23-game stretch. They ended up going 13-10. So I was 1 game off from my ideal target line, but that was only because they lost last night. They got off to a really odd start. They swept the Angels. They swept the Rangers. They won 3 out of 4 against Minnesota. So right there, you're looking at, 9-1 in that stretch. And then you add in the Houston stretch where they went 1-2. That's 10-3 in those 13 games. That's really good. Which means that then in their last 10, they've been 3-7. So you look at, they split with the Yankees and they won 1 against Boston, and then they lost to the Mets 3 straight. So I think the Indians played really well over that stretch. I think especially the series in New York, to me, opened up some eyes. I think their offense kind of got tired after producing all those runs in New York. You look at, they scored 8 runs 1 game and 19 in both their wins, and then their losses, it was 6-5 and 3-2. So both their losses were only by a run, and their wins, they pretty much dominated. I think that's a really good sign for the Indians going forward, heading into October. I absolutely adore the trade of Yasiel Puig. Now, I know we're not going to be able to keep Yasiel Puig, right? He's a rental, and don't get me started with this Dolan's cheap, because he's not. He's doing what's right for business. He's doing how you manage a team. That's why we're not going to pay Francisco Lindor, because you don't pay guys 10-year contracts. You just don't, no matter how good they are. I don't care if it's a pitcher, if it's the best player of all time. I don't care if Babe Ruth came back from the dead. I'm not paying him a 10-year deal. All right? I'm just not. It's not being cheap. It's called managing a team. I don't want my team built around one guy. This isn't basketball, right? This isn't, LeBron and AD. This isn't AD Kyrie. Baseball's not like that. Baseball takes a 25-man roster. Baseball's a lot like football, where, football, you pay a quarterback a lot of money, which I'm actually against paying quarterback a ton of money. Once they get past 30, I think the Carson Wentz contract is good for now. I think that, Jared Goff's contract will probably be pretty good. I think Russell Wilson's contract is pretty good. Don't know about Dak Prescott, because we don't know about Dak Prescott. If he was a more elite quarterback, I'd be in favor of paying him because he's young. But in baseball, with the salary cap situations of it, just doesn't matter how old you are. I'm not paying you. If you were 21, I probably wouldn't pay you. Okay? I'm just being honest. I have you under control. I have you under control till your contract's out. And then as a small market, I have to let you go unless we negotiate a deal or something along the lines of where I can have control of you. We can go out. We can spend more money on other players. The Edwin Encarnacion contract for the Indians, they got out of it last year, was a great get out because it was a terrible contract. So was the Andrew Alonso contract. They made up for it with Carlos Santana, Jake Bauers, who I thought was okay. I thought he was better than what people think. I give this front office the benefit of the doubt. They found a way to stay in contention, while also trying to get more assets. This pitching staff is incredible. We have this Aaron Savali guy who I love. We have Zach Plesac, Shane Bieber. I know Corey Kluber had a setback, but When he comes back, let's hope he's in Clover mode. You could have Carlos Carrasco coming out of the bullpen in the postseason, which would be another good arm. So you just have these guys, Clevenger, and well, I always forget about Clevenger, and yet he's one of the best pitchers on the staff. You have all these guys that can come out and pitch, and, getting the 2 power bats, one Arento, and then Reyes, who we're going to have, which I'm concerned about him, though, because I think he hits way too many high pitches, or at least he tries to, and always swings and misses. But I think postseason, I think the Indians are built well. I think the only team that they realistically cannot beat as of today is Houston. I do think they can beat the Yankees. I think we can catch Minnesota. We have, I think it's 6 games left with Minnesota. It might even be 9. I know Minnesota hosts Detroit this weekend. Tampa Bay, let's see here. Tampa Bay is playing Baltimore on the road. Let's see. And then Oakland is facing San Francisco in a 2-game series. Sorry, I just wanted to check the facts real quick, make sure I got those right for you guys. So Oakland is facing San Francisco. I know Minnesota's hosting Detroit. And then Tampa Bay is going to Baltimore. Those are the teams that we're kind of in contention with. We play Tampa Bay coming up here soon. I believe we're done with Oakland. And I know we have at least 6 games left with Minnesota. So there's still a lot of time here. Still a lot of time for the Indians to play great baseball. Now, every closer goes through his peaks and valleys, his up and downs. I'm not worried a thing about Brett Hand. I think Brett Hand just needs to keep pitching until he gets out of it. I think that Hand, was out of a rhythm because we were blowing people out, and so he wasn't in as much, and then he wasn't in as many save situations, and then his wicked slider, his down in the dirt put away pitch with 2 strikes hasn't been there, so he's having to throw a lot of fastballs, and when he throws his breaking ball, it's been out over the plate. That's what I see wrong with Brett Hand, and I'm not concerned. He's just got to work through it. So, all you guys are panicking because you're emotional. That's what happens with emotional people when it comes to sports. Like I said earlier, I'm emotional when it comes to relationships, friends, whatever. I'm not emotional when it comes to sports. Sports, you have to be a business. If a guy gets traded, if a guy gets cut, if a guy doesn't perform well, oh well, move on next week. Great thing about baseball is it's the next day most of the time, not next week. So you have to be able to move on. You have to be able to just put it behind you. Don't let it ruin your day or whatever. Just go for it, man. Next day, new series here against Kansas City, right? So let's go out. Let's win the series. Ideally, we sweep them. If not, oh well, you win 2 out of 3. If you win 2 out of 3 every series, you're going 20-10 in the month. That puts you, on average, April through September, you're going to win over 100 games if you just win the series every time. I know it's not that easy, and obviously you don't do that, but that's obviously the goal. Win more series than not. And then you see what happens. Alright, let's dive in real quickly here to the MLB standings. So the Yankees, they are obviously on top in the American League East. Tampa Bay is 8 back. Boston is 15 back. Boston's really out of the playoff race, basically. And obviously, as we know, Baltimore, Toronto in the basement. Baltimore in the basement. Toronto in 4th, but they're pretty much both in the basement. AL Central, Minnesota has 77 wins. The Indians have 74 right now. The Indians are 3.5 back. I believe Minnesota got rained out last night. Chicago, Kansas City, and then Detroit. So those 3 teams, I thought Chicago would be a little bit better this year. I think they are a little bit better than what they were last year. I thought they'd be a little bit better than this, though, almost like a 500 team. I thought they would compete a little with Minnesota, who I didn't think would be this good. I thought they'd win like 85 games. I think the Indians I had winning 94 games, which could theoretically still happen, but Minnesota could win 96, 97. It's just going to be one of those type of years where we're going to have to beat Minnesota head-to-head. If we take care of our business with them, I still think the Indians can win the division. AL West. You got Houston. Houston, is obviously the big dog there. Then you got Oakland. They're 7 games back. They're competing basically for a wild card. They're not going to catch Houston. Angels and Rangers, obviously, what happened with Tyler Skaggs. Fired up the Angels for a little bit, and then now they've come back down to earth. Texas has kind of come back down to earth, and then Seattle. You know, remember in April when everybody was coming on this radio station, look how good Seattle is. And I said, they're going to probably lose 90 games. They're on pace to lose 90 games. Don't get fooled by April. It's like in football, don't get fooled by September. It's like in basketball, don't get fooled by October, November, December, January, really. In baseball, don't get fooled by April, May, you know, it just depends. And in June, if you're not doing good by June, you're done. You know, don't get fooled, though, in April. You could be 12-0 in April, or, you know, depending on how many rainouts you have or whatever, you could be 12-0, and by the end of September, you got 100 losses. That's just the way baseball works. Let's see here. Alright, so let's go to the NL East. You know, you got the Braves, you got them Washington in second place, they're 6 back, and then you got the Mets and Phillies who are both 9 back, and then Miami in the basement. The Mets have made a run out of it, and the Phillies, in my opinion, have had a down year. They just hired back Charlie Manuel, the former manager, as their hitting coach. It's been helping them. I know they've had a lot of injuries this year. They were my pick to win the pennant this year. I thought the Dodgers were going to take a little bit step back from being in the World Series 2 straight years. And I just thought Philadelphia had a really good roster. You know, Harper, the contract I didn't like, but I think for a year or two, I think he could try to put them over the top. And they've just had a lot of injuries, and now they're fighting for a wild card. But, you know, I don't think they're the best team in the world. I think the Dodgers and the Astros, as we all know, should by far be the favorites. But the Nationals, I think, are better than what I thought. Mets are better than what I thought. Philadelphia is kind of worse than what I thought. And Atlanta, I thought they were going to take a step back. They're just as good. So there you go with that. Let's go to the NL Central. You got the Cardinals and Cubs battling for the top spot. Cubs right now have it by half a game. Milwaukee is 4 back. And then our friend Trevor Bauer with Cincinnati is about 9 back. And then, you know, Pittsburgh's in the basement. I'm going to talk to Michael Reiner next week about Pittsburgh because they had a chance. And they've been one of the teams that's fallen off in the second half. And then in the NL West, the Dodgers are running away with the division. Arizona, San Francisco are still basically fighting for the wild card along with San Diego to some degree. But really, the NL wild card is stacked. You know, you got basically, besides Miami, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and San Diego. You pretty much, that's it. Those are the 4 teams that are pretty much out of it. Sorry, I drew a blank there. You got 4 teams that are pretty much out of it. That's it in the NL. In the American League, it's down to basically 3. The loser of the AL Central, Tampa Bay and Oakland, fighting for 2 spots. 3 teams fighting for 2 spots. Right now, it's the Indians, Oakland, Tampa Bay. It could be Minnesota, Oakland, Tampa Bay. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a fun stretch come October, and let's hope our Indians do get into it. I think we have the formula to win in the postseason. Good pitching, timely hitting. Again, this Yasiel Puig has an arm. This guy, I mean, when's the last time the Indians had a right fielder who could just fire a ball directly into home plate to Roberto Perez or Kevin Plawecki? When's the last time the Indians had a strong right fielder? Naquin's pretty good. He's pretty good for a left fielder as well. But I'm talking about, when does a guy that the Indians have had, no bounce, just a pure strike, or if he does do a bounce, it's perfect right into the glove. The Indians haven't had that in a long time. Reyes has an arm as well, but he's just not as good of an overall hitter as Puig. I really like this Puig, man. He's an intense presence. You know, the stuff he did in LA, maybe as Count Howard would say, is not grown up, but he's turning around, man. The waving and stuff, I don't mind that. You know, I think Yasiel Puig just brings some fun, some energy into the clubhouse. I think Trevor Bauer was almost too serious for our guys. I think we love Bauer, you know, his fire, his compassion, but when it came down to it, when he threw that ball over the wall in Kansas City, that was it. Couldn't trust him anymore. Sorry, Trevor. You just don't fit in anymore. And the return we got, man, for this lefty Logan and Hunter Wood, we also got in a trade. These guys, the Indians front office, give props to Chris Anzalone and Mike Chernoff and all the guys in the scouting department, the assistants, everybody. They really did a great job. You cannot blame Paul Dolan if the Indians lose this postseason. Just cannot blame him because he's giving the Indians the pieces. That's just it. I mean, he is giving the Indians the pieces. The Indians have a pretty good team. They didn't buy the team like the Yankees. They didn't tank and have all these good players like Houston did. They just built it well. And we're going to see where we go from here. The Indians can't buy players like I've been trying to explain to you guys for years. It's not being cheap. It's called good business. You don't pay guys 10-year contracts. And you have a window here. And let's see where it goes. So, with that being said, guys, top of the hour is coming up. We're going to take a little bit longer of a break. But at the top of the hour, we're going to go over, remember the last show, last semester? It was, I would get 5 things that would happen this summer in sports. Well, 4 of the 5, I got wrong. You could argue 5 of the 5. Okay, I had a bad streak this summer. I had a lot of trolls, right? Like I said, I had somebody tell me that I'm going to spend 60 years in Wyoming. I don't think so, but you know, you guys can keep firing your trolls and how great you are, because people just don't know how to handle stress, how to handle success, right? People don't understand this is an opinion-based show, and I love opinions. You know, we talked yesterday in a class. You know, sports journalism is mostly opinion. That's why the Athletic started to get more in-depth sports writing. I love opinions. Just give me a microphone. Let me talk, let me hear your opinion, and we can bounce back and forth, because I do respect everybody's opinion about everything, whether it's sports, music, politics, whatever. But here we are. I pretty much got everything wrong in that list. I'm going to reveal that next at the top of the hour, and then we're also going to talk about the NBA. Right, the sport that I didn't even watch last year, besides the NBA Powers. I'm going to talk about the guy that Skip Bayless calls number 2, because it's really fun to say number 2. And then we're also going to dive into NBA 2K20, the video game. I don't do a lot of video game talk, but the demo did come out. And 2K, I got a problem with your demo. I think it might be the worst thing you've ever come out with. And I'm going to talk about that of the hour. So we're going to take a little bit of a long break. I'm going to play some music, kind of let you guys relax. Like I told you guys at the top of the show, my schedule that I post on Twitter and Facebook, they're guidelines. So they're not exact. You know, I don't know how long I'm going to talk about stuff. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. So they're guidelines. We're probably not going to go the whole time today till noon. This was just a show that, again, I was granted special permission for by our general manager, Connor Bounce, to come in and do, and I appreciate every second of it. Appreciate you guys listening to me. Appreciate me giving you guys the chance to hear some great talk about everything, sports, whatever. So that's the goal of this semester, is to do this more for the people that care, not for the people that don't care. I'm not trying to impress everybody. I'm trying to be me. You know, that's my kind of motto or pitch, or however you want to say it to myself this semester. I've always said adversity is the best motivator. Fighting through stuff, fighting for the bad, you know, enjoying the good, and just keep fighting and having fun. And that's what we're at today on this show. I always have a hard time ending segments. It's one of the stuff that I've come in here and try to do. So with that being said, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back here. I'm Brandon Paul. Hey listeners, thinking about leaving us after this show? Well, don't. Why? Because we have 55 other fantastic shows that play 7. That's right, 7 days a week. Every day from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., our programs put the random radio and are guaranteed to rock your socks off. Also, look out for ticket giveaways and other promotions throughout the semester. If you need even more Buck Show Radio in your life, make sure to check out the amazing music, TV, and pop culture articles on our website. And reminder to keep it locked on BuckShowRadio.com. Oh, we are back here, hour number 2 on Brandon's World. I'm Brandon Lewis, the new web director of Buck Show Radio. I'm very proud to say that. I was out recruiting Wednesday night. It went very well, and I think that we're going to have a great web staff, and I'm looking to kind of help embrace the culture here at Buck Show Radio. But we are live here. This is not the official kickoff of our fall 2019 semester programming. This was a special show that I got approved by our new general manager, Connor Battles, who I trust and who I think will do a very good job in succeeding our former general manager, a.k.a. my first boss, Brooke Forbes, a.k.a. the former host of the mixtape. But here we are, back here hour number 2 on this show. We are going to be here next week as well. Michael Reiner will be in from 10 a.m. to 11. Sean Fitzgerald will be in from 11 to noon. I will go over the state of sports with both of those two great individuals. But as we kick off hour number 2, usually when we start our fall programming, I'm going to be bringing in a new segment on this show in this hour, and it's going to be a dandy. Right now, I'm not going to reveal it. You're just going to have to wait till the first show or when I announce on Twitter. I think it's going to be fun. I think you guys are going to just get all over me for it, but I can't wait to debut it. But today in this spot, what I'm going to do is, on the last show we had, which was May 4th, 2019, which was almost over 100 days ago, we need to review what I said on that show. And that was, hey, these are 5 things that are going to happen this summer. And pretty much all of them did not happen. So I'm going to expose myself here. Expose him. Oh. I'm going to expose myself here and show you guys all my wrong takes, right? So, here we go. Got the little primetime music going in the background. Here we go. First one. Steph, Clay, and Draymond will all have more rings than LeBron James. Yeah, that didn't happen. Toronto won the NBA championship. Congratulations, Kawhi, number 2, Leonard, and Uncle Dennis for winning Toronto championship and then leaving and going to the Los Angeles Clippers like I did predict it would happen. I told you guys Kawhi Leonard wasn't staying in Toronto. He didn't. Sorry, all you Canadians. Sorry, all you Raptors fans. You can enjoy your one championship. I know, LeBron left us. It's okay. It's okay. Second thing. KD will make you all happy, not me. The NBA landscape will change. Well, one of those two things is correct. The NBA landscape will change. KD, he made me happy. Okay, he did. I think he made all you happy. I don't know if y'all wanted him to go to the Knicks or not. I wanted him to stay in Golden State, but I'm okay with him going to Brooklyn with Kyrie and DeAndre Jordan, man. I just don't like the Knicks. They've been trash for years. They didn't win the lottery. They always will be trash. RJ Barrett will not be your franchise-changing superstar. I'm sorry. The Garden is the most overrated venue in all of sports, in my opinion. Hasn't meant nothing in 20 years and will never mean nothing for another 30 years. Sorry, Knicks fans. You're in the basement once again. Thank you, KD, for not choosing the Knicks. Thank you for choosing Brooklyn, at least balancing out the East a little bit. And next year, the East is wide open. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. Number 3. You all will panic when the Indians have a mid-June or mid-July slump, and I will not. Well, they didn't have a slump. They were the best team in baseball over those 2 months. And are they in a slump now because they lost 3 to the Mets? You can argue that, and all the fans are panicking about Brent Hand, and I'm telling you, it is fine, right? It's fine. The Indians are going to be fine. They're going to right the ship. They're going to win 2 out of 3 against Kansas City. Everything will be fine. All you got to do is keep Whit Merrifield in check, have good pitching, good timely hitting. I'm not worried about the Indians at all. Okay? We just need to relax. We need to take our time. We need to trust the process, as the Sixers once said, and evaluate the process. That's what I do. When I watch games, yes, I'm a fan of the team, but I'm also watching it through the mind of the manager or the coach. So I'm watching the game through the mind of manager Tito, Terry Francona, and trying to figure out what he would do, why he does this situation. I like doing that. And, you know, I trust guys. Like I said, I have trust issues. You know, so when I trust somebody, I trust them. And I trust Tito, and I trust the front office, and I think they'll make the right decisions. Number 4, WWE will be on and off, hot and cold. Now, this one is arguably the one I got the most right on. I did say that they would have a hot May, which Money in the Bank was one of the best pay-per-views of the year. I said that June would be which it kind of was. Stomping Grounds was a better pay-per-view than I expected. But really, that June and July kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about this more towards 11:30. Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, the impact, and how WWE is really going to change come fall, and how it started to change at SummerSlam. And what I saw this past Monday and Tuesday were really good. But do they have an hot August? SummerSlam to me was one of the worst SummerSlams in recent memory. There was no real hype to it. I mean, it was alright, but there was no like, oh my god, I can't wait for this match. There was not that. I wrote an article about that. You know, SummerSlam wasn't the greatest. The booking was, it it just wasn't the greatest. I thought Money in the Bank was the best pay-per-view by far over the summer. And then number 5, the weather. I said the weather would be nice. Well, if you count June, the weather was not nice at all. It was raining. It was in my neck of the woods almost every day in June. July, then it was really hot, which I like. And then I come back here, and it's like raining yesterday, and, you know, I was smart. I brought a sweat jacket with me to class, but then after it stopped raining, the wind was cold. I was like, this feels like September. We need 90-degree weather. It was so nice Wednesday and Tuesday when we were out recruiting. 85 was cruising. Not yesterday. Definitely not today. It was, not going to lie, it felt good in the sun driving to the studio, but when the wind picked up, little chilly. Felt like almost Labor Day, okay? And I don't want that. I want 85, 90-degree weather every day from June to August. I love it. I can sit outside and roast in the sun and bake. I just love the sun. Okay, as a matter of fact, when I went to get my physical, my doctor asked me why I had a sun rash on my back, and I told her it's because I didn't put sunscreen on my back all summer, which is true. I guess there was a little spot on my neck. It's gone away now that I put some medicine on it, but that just shows you guys how much I love the sun. I don't want to get too personal there, but that is how much I love the sun. The weather was really, really good and bad. You know, we've had some big rainstorms, and I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it with these takes. I think I was wrong all summer. So, unfortunately, there's that. Let's keep the primetime music on for about 5 more minutes, and let's head to the NBA. So, we got all these duos, right? We got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and obviously Durant's not going to play this season, but I'm talking about next year. We got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I do think they're going to trade D'Angelo Russell. We got LeBron and AD. Obviously, Boogie got hurt, so he's out of there. Number 2, Paul George, or Skip Bayless calls him George Paul. You got Utah now with Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert. Portland still with Damian and CJ, and Nurkic. Denver with Jokic, Jamal Murray. Indiana with Oladipo, Miles Turner. Philadelphia, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Miami, even got Jimmy Butler. And then we can't forget about Houston, which is the team I guarantee you I'm going to have a lot of arguments people on air about is Houston. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, the 2 favorite divas of this radio station and all of sports. Everybody loves Russell Westbrook and everybody loves James Harden, and I don't like either of them. Harden's okay. You guys already know my beef with one Russell Westbrook. Westbrook and Harden can choke together in Houston again. Even if Oklahoma City, keeps Chris Paul, you got Chris Paul and Steven Adams. You got all these duos, right? Got all these duos. Very exciting. Very exciting. And I can't wait for the NBA season. Now, Brandon, what about the Cavs draft? What about this Dylan Windler? What about these guys that we drafted? Kevin Porter Jr. What about the Kevin Vanderbilt, who I'll be honest, I can't even think of his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. Folks, let me get real close to the microphone here. I do not care about the Cavs. But I do think that if the Cavs were to make a move, trade Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, maybe get a Bradley Beal or someone like a Cat, because Minnesota's terrible as well. They're like the one terrible team in the West. Then you can get me talking. Because the Cavs have no idea what they're doing. The East this season's wide open. I don't know if people realize this or not. The East this year is wide open. Philadelphia got worse. You replaced Jimmy Butler with Al Horford, they got worse. I'm sorry. That Philadelphia team would have made the final last year if Kawhi Leonard didn't get the luckiest pounce in the history of the NBA. Philadelphia would have probably won the championship. I'm sorry. You can argue me that all day. Philadelphia would have won the championship. Milwaukee, they're good. I'm not the biggest fan of Giannis. They did lose. They lost Bledsoe, I want to say, right? They kept Middleton. That's correct, sir. I'm drawing a blank. It's been a couple months. I did the whole free agency tracker, and now I'm drawing a blank. I haven't talked about the NBA in a few weeks. They got Indiana, like I said, with Oladipo and Turner. Got Philadelphia, got Milwaukee. Toronto's still going to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Fred VanVleet. They brought everybody back but number 2. So, as bad as the Cavs are going to be, they have a chance to make the playoffs as the 8 seed. I mean, the Knicks with Julius Randle, and I already talked about how trash the Knicks are. They have a chance to make the playoffs with Julius Randle because the East is just so bad. So I have proposed, for the Cavs to trade Colin Sexton, trade Kevin Love, go get Bradley Beal, go get Karl-Anthony Towns. Those two stars who are in terrible spots in Minnesota and Washington. Give it some draft picks because nobody cares about draft picks in the NBA anymore. The NBA draft is increasingly becoming irrelevant. And there you have it. The Cavs have a pick 3 and they're a top 4 team in the East. Not that hard. You had the point guard, Dylan Windler, I believe his name is. Hold on. Let me look this up. Why can't I think of the guy's name? I know the shooter they drafted. I know they... What's here? Yeah, Dylan Windler. Right? Let me see. Here we go. Going on Basketball Reference here right now as we let this kind of play in the background. Darius Garland, that's his name, Darius Garland. Okay, Windler's the shooter, my bad. See, this is how much I know about the Cavs, guys. Nothing. So Garland's the point guard from Vanderbilt. Garland's the point guard, Windler's the shooter, and then I know we got to come aboard at junior number 30. For some reason, I couldn't think of their names. I just drew a complete blank. But, yeah, I think Garland is going to be pretty good. I mean, he can shoot. I think he's already better than Colin Sexton. So if you trade Kevin Love and Karl-Anthony Towns for that, I'm all good. I'm all good. If you get rid of Kevin Love, you get rid of Colin Sexton, you go for a top 4 seed in the East, I'm good with the Cavs. But other than that, I really don't care about the Cavs. I think the NBA is going to be very interesting this season. When you have all these duos, I think it's wide open. I think the Lakers drop from like the 2 seed to the 4 seed without Boogie. I think Boogie is going to be missed. I don't know why they're trying to bring in Dwight Howard. I think Boogie would have been good just for floor spacing on the 3-point line. None of those guys can shoot. You got to be able to shoot in today's NBA. But I do think that the NBA is in for a special time. I think it is going to be special. And it's okay if you don't want to be a Cavs fan. It really is. I'm going to be a casual fan. I'm just going to watch the games. Most of the games are on 2-way. You guys know me. I don't like staying up late. I didn't even stay up for the Indians game. I looked to see what happened in the morning after the rain delay. I don't like staying up too late. I'm not going to stay up too late. I'll watch the Sunday afternoon games or the Saturday 8 o'clock games or the first TNT game. But I'm just going to watch casually. I'm going to have fun with the NBA again. And, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I'll make my predictions come October. But I do want to talk about something NBA related, and that is something I never talk about pretty much on here, and that's NBA 2K. So the NBA 2K19, NBA 2K20, I apologize, we're still in 2019, what am I saying today? The NBA 2K20 demo dropped Wednesday. Just got a chance to download it last night and install it. 2K. First of all, your WWE game this year, I don't even know if it's worth buying. Your NBA demo, this thing is trash. For a person that doesn't love my career, there's no need to download this demo. All you can do in this demo is go in to your My Career, test out different badges and stuff, test out 99 overall, 80 overall, 60 overall. You can test them out on the Raptors against the Warriors. Whatever the day where we had 4 teams, you can play again with one of the 4. What happened to those days, 2K? For a guy that doesn't love my career, what's the point of me trying on a 99 overall player when I get the game? It's going to be a 60 overall. Anybody understand that? And unless you buy VC, there's no way you're getting every player a 99 overall. So 2K, somebody explain to me why you made this demo. This demo had just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. I said that there. It doesn't make sense to me. Not worth it. I'm probably just going to uninstall it. I might play once with a 99 overall player, but there's really no point because I'm never getting to that point at most. I'll probably get to a 65 and then quit because I don't have any VC. That's the way my career is every year. In my opinion, it's a scam. Same thing with Mud and Men. It's a scam for people to spend money on the game. And I don't do that. Sorry. Alright. Talking wrestling. We come back. I'm Brandon Moore. Did you know that Buckskull Radio sells states and merch? Well, we do. We have several different types of t-shirts, stickers, pins, record bowls, and more. Check out our merchandise via our website, buckskullradio.com. You can find the shop link in the top corner of our site. Stay tuned and show everyone you are nuts for BSR by buying all your favorite station merch. Bottom of hour 2. Here on Brent's World, we're probably only going to go, guys, to probably about 11:40, 11:45 today. If that, like I said, we don't have producer or anything. This is just me running my own show in here. Don't have an exact time slot. I said that 10 a.m. to noon because that's a normal 2-hour time slot. We don't have to go the full time today. Ideally, when we start the fall 2019 programming, what's going to happen is we're going to talk about, Thursday night football game, the Browns, the Indians, the NBA, and then a little bit of wrestling, and then we're going to wrap up a little bit earlier, probably about 11:45 this year. I think my shows kind of went a little bit too late last year, in my opinion. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of wrap up, get in here, next show, me to pack my stuff, kind of stuff like that, and give you guys a chance to listen to some great music on our way out of here. And again, one more time before we end today's show, thank you, General Manager for Counter Battles, for giving me this opportunity to come on here today and share this great studio and this great microphone and all the great fans that are listening right now on BuckshowRadio.com. To review what we talked about today, I talked about summer 2019. We talked about my concern about Freddie Kitchens as head coach of the Browns. I am not sold yet on Freddie Kitchens. I am sold on Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield will save the franchise. I think Baker Mayfield could become the Phillip Rivers of basically the East Coast, where he's in these situations, he's in playoff games a lot, and then they lose, and coaches get fired, and GMs, and I'm afraid for Baker Mayfield because I think his relationship with Freddie Kitchens is good, not great. I don't know how Freddie Kitchens can in the locker room. We're going to find out a lot about Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens was an offensive coordinator for 8 games. Does that qualify him? Are we sure about that? That's the bottom line. Talked about the Indians. Everybody's concerned about Brad Hand. The Indians will be fine. Trust me, I've been saying it for years now. The Indians will be fine. Then once you get into the postseason, you see what happens. Alright, don't worry about Hand. He'll be fine. He's going to bounce back. Nobody concerned about Hand. Alright, let's dive in now to the Roman Wrestling. So I talked about this a little bit. I thought Money in the Bank was the best pay-per-view of the summer. Brock Lesnar cashing in. The whole Brock Lesnar thing was just great. Fans don't like Brock Lesnar, which means I like Brock Lesnar. Fans want Brock Lesnar to boo, which means you put the championship on Brock Lesnar. And I love it. I do think that this storyline they're going with right now, currently, with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions, this past Friday night on Raw, is really cool. Because, I was talking to my buddy Michael, and he was telling me how he didn't like it. And I said something that, we're going to probably talk about next week. Well, what if Rollins and Strowman defend the titles at Clash, and they also face for the Universal Championship back-to-back matches? I think it could be something really cool. And, I think Paul Heyman's fingerprints were all over the show, basically because he ran it, because Mr. McMahon was not at Raw or SmackDown this week because of the XFL. I've already mentioned, I'm not going to talk about this today, but I've already mentioned numerous times the XFL is going to work. Trust me. I said the AF wouldn't, the XFL will. Trust me on this. But, I think WWE is in a very interesting spot because their summer was one of the weirdest summers ever. They tried a lot of new stuff. The 24/7 championship. My wish is for the current 24/7 champion, Elias, to walk into the studio right now and I pin him and I become the 24/7 champion on air. Or when they go to Los Angeles, October 4th for the debut of SmackDown Live, somebody pins Elias or whoever the 24/7 champion is right on top of Colin Cowherd's disc. Okay? These are the expectations I have for the 24/7 championship. It can be defended anytime, anywhere, any place around the globe. It can be defended on top of the galaxies. It can be defended on the roof. It can be defended on top of a car. It can be defended in the middle of the road. It don't matter. The 24/7 championship should be realistically defended anywhere in the world. I think they need to do more outside stuff than they have been doing. I love it. I think it needs to be a little bit less scripted. I know it's not all scripted, but I think it could be a little bit less scripted. Like I said, I would love it when they're doing a TV appearance. They tell the TV producer beforehand, hey, we're going to do a 24/7 championship change, like on The View, or, some talk show, The Ellen Show, whatever else talk shows there are. Even if they bring somebody on, one of my mom's favorite soap operas, General Hospital, even if they bring some wrestler on General Hospital, they do a scene on the set, 24/7 championship title change. Something like that. I want to see something like that, man. I think the 24/7 championship right now is the most entertaining championship in all of professional wrestling. And, I think WWE right now is starting to get things back on track. You got Randy Orton being a heel again. Xavier, I'm gonna break your legs. Just stuff like that. Like the old heel Randy Orton is back, Psycho Orton is back. And I think it's really amped up the ante with his rivalry with Kofi Kingston. The SummerSlam no disqualification finish was just dumb, but I think it's making Orton look stronger. I love what they're doing because I don't think they have legitimate heels right now. So I think Orton is a really good heel. I think they need to get Elias back singing more than being Shane McMahon's lackey. But I think the direction they're going right now is very good. I think Raw and SmackDown this week were both good. When you talk about SmackDown, the Roman Reigns storyline, where he's being attacked and you don't know who the attacker is. Obviously, we've seen this story a million times, seen this storyline, but the point that they made where they brought a guy with a bag over his head and they revealed it as a guy that looked just like Eric Rowan, people hated it. I thought it was hysterical. If you guys watch wrestling, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they bring in Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, and they bring this guy into a small room, and they have like a hood over him. You can't see who he is. So Roman comes in and says, Daniel says, we have the guy. And Roman says, who is it? And they reveal it's basically a lookalike of Eric Rowan. Some people speculate it's going to be Eric Harper, or Luke Harper, excuse me. But I love it. I think it's just corny stuff that WWE does. I think in order to watch wrestling, you need to be a little bit corny. That's my opinion. You need to accept their jokes. Some of the stuff they do is just flat out stupid, but some of the stuff, it's like, it's wrestling. It's funny in wrestling, right? AEW, I thought Double or Nothing was really fantastic. I thought it was a really good pay-per-view. Then I thought the pay-per-views after that were kind of slow. I'm hoping All Out, which is next weekend, will be really, really good. I think AEW getting a TV deal with TNT is huge. I think going head-to-head with NXT and the USA Network, the Wednesday Night Wars, I think wrestling is officially back, folks. I think on this fall, I think Raw is going to be different. I think SmackDown's going to be different. I think AEW is going to be good. I think NXT is going to be good. I think we're going to have a bunch of good, solid wrestling content coming our way. And then, if you're not a wrestling fan, you got the UFC, Stipe Miocic, who I know a lot of you like. Obviously won the heavyweight championship from Daniel Cormier. I'm just not a UFC fan, right, guys? You can buy the pay-per-view for $60 and the guy gets knocked down in 30 seconds. Not a fan of it. I think the matches come on at like midnight, 1 a.m. Not even that, the fights. Midnight, 1 a.m. Just not a fan of that. Like I said, I'm not a staying up late type of person. And UFC, as somebody told me, is almost more like a 21 and up type thing. And that's just not my thing, right? It's not my thing. But I do think going forward, I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to fight John Jones like people speculated. I think Brock is going to stay in WWE. I'm speculating a Seth Rollins match at Survivor Series. I think it's going to be a ton of fun, guys. I think this October, SmackDown's moving to Fox. Raw's got a deal with USA. NXT has a deal with USA. AEW has a deal with TNT. Okay, so we're on big networks. Good wrestling as we're going to find out. And I do think the product's going to change. I wrote an article back in the summer about what I would do as a WWE writer. I think they're going to take a lot of those steps, including the old SmackDown stage, which I saw that they're going to bring back. You got the wild card rule, which I heard is going to end, which thank God. That made no sense. And, I just think that we're in for a really good time when it comes to wrestling and everything about it. I think AEW is going to help with competition. Do I think AEW will ever pass WWE? Heck no. WWE has way too much money. They have too much power. But I do think that AEW is going to give them competition. I think Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff especially Heyman and Bischoff, are going to really turn things around. I think Paul Heyman's doing great on Raw. I don't think Bischoff has much control yet when it comes to SmackDown, but I think he's going to get it because I do have a feeling, like I heard a report the other day, Vince McMahon could be leaving WWE for a little bit, and that's a real report to go focus on the XFL. And I said it at the time, I wouldn't be surprised. It sounds like he's leaving control a little bit. And it sounds like to me that Triple H's going to run NXT, Heyman's running Raw, Bischoff's running SmackDown when we get to October. And I can't wait. And that is pretty much all I have to say today, guys. Like I said, I was not expecting it to go the whole time today. Like I said, a card subject to change. Next week, we're probably going to go all the way to noon because we're just going to have a great conversation with Michael and Sean, and it's going to be a heck of a time. With that being said, I'm going to go run. I'm going to go put this on YouTube, and I hope you guys really enjoyed today. A little bit of a shorter show. Just kind of let things out, kind of get back in the studio. I had nothing else to do today, so I just wanted to come in here and, just kind of give my opinions, give everything out here at the start of the show, and bring some energy back into the Live Mike Show Radio. Very excited to be the web director, and I can't wait to do great things. This is a great radio station. Can't say enough things about it. And with that being said, guys, until next time, see you next week. This is Brent Schwartz.